So hey everybody, and welcome to KoldTurkey. I'm Pauly T, and this is the Heroin Chronicles, which I've had to rename the Chronicles of Pauly T because of the YouTube policies. Anyway, you know what we're talking about. The Chronicles of Pauly T could only be the Heroin Chronicles. I'm going to tell you a journey I went on with my brother to a monastery in Thailand to get clean, because people have requested this story many times, and I knew I'd get around to it at some stage. It's a long story. I've been out in Thailand a few times, but and I've been out to this monastery before on my own, and I returned there with my brother. But to get it lead up to the story, we were both living together, my brother and myself, in my apartment in Bride Street in town. And my brother Danny, he was working in Leicester Barbers, and I wasn't working at the time. And we both had a pretty heavy heroin habit. And he would come home, and he'd be, all we would do would be waiting for him to come in, so we could use, and from his tip money or whatever, and he'd always score on the way home, and then he'd have something for the morning. And if I got up early enough and caught him before he went out, I might get a few lines off him. But this went on for a couple of years, and it was a pretty dark place in both of our life, because he was just working and using, and I was just using and using. I wasn't working at the time. I didn't have the health, the strength, or the motivation to be able to get out of bed sometimes. That's how dark it kind of went. But anyway, we did our best. So we chipped through it, and it got so bad at one point that we both decided we needed to go into treatment. And I had bumped into an old friend of mine who had a Christian treatment centre up in the north of Ireland. A lad from the Coombe who went on to get clean and open a Christian treatment centre. And so he told me, or had offered me and said, to come back to the treatment centre, and I asked him, could my brother come as well? And it's unusual that two brothers would be allowed to go into treatment together, but probably knowing the lad as I did, and he knew my brother as well, and he said, yeah, okay, you can both come up and give it a go. And so we did. We went up to the treatment centre in Drogheda, where all the lads used to go out on a daily basis up there, out bagpacking in the supermarkets. It was something the centre did to turn a bit of revenue over. And we came in, but the first week there, you didn't have to do any bagpacking. You were sick, and you stay in the house, and you didn't have to do much in that first week. A week of grace, they called it, that they gave you. But we were up there, and I can just remember being really sick, and naturally we brought in a little bit of something, as you do everywhere. Everyone does it, so to ease into the system. So we brought a few volume up with us, and that was gone pretty quickly. And the day the volume was gone, which was about 4 days into us being there, we got thrown out of the place anyway. And this story's not about that, so I'm not going to go in on that place too much. They were good enough to give me a bed when I really needed it, and I took it. We went up there and we got into the prayer, and we did what we had to do and all that, but we just wanted to get clean at the time. I wasn't looking for an introduction to the Almighty at that particular time in my life. So even though I'd have tried anything if I thought it worked, and while I was there I did my best, but I'd been in so many other religious traditions and stuff that it was difficult for me to throw my lot in on one thing. And Christianity, they're very, it's also my way or the highway kind of thing, and I just found that difficult, the undisciplined me that I am, and so I let that pass. It never really penetrated my heart, so to speak, but no, I'll take all that back. So anyway, we got thrown out of the Christian place, and Danny had a few quid in the bank, so I remember we getting the bus back into town. We were kind of half our leave to be out of the place, because the first thing we did is we went and we scored. And then it was on the bus back from Drogheda to Dublin from this treatment centre. It's only about an hour and a half, but we decided, he said, look, I have enough money, he had about 2-3 grand in the bank, and he said, why don't we fuck off to that place in Thailand like you were? I'd been there a year previously and I'd done well for a little while when I came out. And I said, well, yeah, we could go there, I said, but I won't be allowed back in the treatment centre. You can only do it once at this particular treatment centre. They won't take you again. So once and you go in there, you take a Buddhist sachet or promise, and you promise never to use drugs again. So they only let you do this treatment centre once, and I'd been there and I'd relapsed. So I said, but you could go in and I could go over with you and I could stay outside of the treatment centre in the monastery. See, the treatment centre was in the monastery, belonged to the monastery. But there was other buildings that you could stay in within the monastery system, and I was hoping I could get a room there with one of the monks, and my brother could go into the treatment centre and I could get clean outside and he could get clean inside the treatment centre. We decided that's what we'd do. So we went straight into the city. We picked up our we went straight into the travel agents in Dawson Street, I remember, and we booked the tickets then and there for about, I think, 2 days later. So we had 2 days, so obviously we used, and we went back away on the flat, we got our stuff together and we were off to Thailand. And we were in terrible shape, the two of us. I was very thin and really messed up at the time, and you know, like really, we were really bad, we were down bad. And so we went over to Thailand, we brought a bit of gear, and that's another fucking story. Jesus Christ. When I think of this one. So we got a 4-hour stopover in, where was it, Abu Dhabi, before we went in the Middle East, you know, before we went on to Bangkok. And we had a little bit of gear. We're in this airport, we got a 4-hour stop here, and so we went into the Jacks, and you know, supposed to smoke cigarettes, but the brother's in there, and I went in and had a few lines, and he stood outside pretending to wash his hands as people were coming in and out, and if too many people come in, he would cough, and I would quiet him with the lighter, or flush the toilet and then take a few hits and blow a cigarette down the toilet after that. I'm trying to keep the smoke and all. It was fucking really dangerous because we're in the Middle East here. I'm smoking heroin, you know, in the toilet in the airport. So I got in, I got a few lines into me really quick. I came in, I told him, like, quick as lightning, in, do it, let's go. So he went down into the toilet, and I could hear the lighter going. I'm kind of nervous, but it's okay. A man comes in, he takes a piss, he goes over, he combs his hair in the mirror, he goes out, I'm there, and then 2 or 3 people come in, and a couple of kids were quite loud, so I'm coughing down to stop clicking the lighter. And he does, he stops clicking, and the kids are running around, and the father's trying to help the kid to piss, and then he's washing his hands, and then they're using the air dryer, and I'm there pretending to have a piss, and then I'm over in the mirror trying to comb my hair, and I was in bits anyway, ribbons looking in the mirror. And 2 coppers walk in, 2 police walk in, and this was scary because the kids everyone left, so it was just me looking in the mirror, and I'm already looking a bit dodgy when I think back on it, you know. And then these 2 police come in, and one of them has a piss, and the other decides to just comb his hair in the mirror, and he's become very quiet, and I can hear Johnny lighting the fucking lighter. So I start coughing, and the 2 cops started looking at me because I'm coughing really loud now, and I can hear the lighter stops, you know, and I'm there coughing, and then I take some tissue as if I'm cleaning my face, and I'm so fucking nervous. And the 2 cops down, one has finished his piss, the other guy's finished combing his hair, but they're kind of looking at me. I just look and give them a little smile and nod, and they look and they nod back, and out they go. And I just went over to the door and said, "Danny, get that fuck out of here." So that was really a dangerous situation when I think of it. So I got him out there. I said, "No more of this. I don't care. We'd be sick until we land in Bangkok. We can't afford to do anything else." And we had 2 or 3 small bags with us, so you know we put them back safe, back into that dark crevice, you know, and we got up out of there. And we waited in the lounge, and there was a little smoking room in the airport, and it was just like basically like a fish tank cubicle with 30 people stood there just incessantly smoking cigarettes, because it was the only little spot in the airport where you could have a cigarette. So we spent an hour or two in the smoking room, and then got onto this long escalator that goes on for about a mile, and it took us to our near enough to our gate. We waited for the plane to Bangkok from there. So we're off to a great start. A very dangerous situation there. If the police had have investigated a little more, they would have caught him red-handed, and we'd have both been probably still in jail. And if not executed, for God's sake. Sure, we had methadone with us and everything. Not a lot, but a little bit to get over the first few days before we'd get up to the monastery. The monastery is about 200 kilometres from Bangkok, north, called Tamprabok. It's a special monastery where these monks have come up with this this medicine that you can drink, and it's like 108 herbs, leaf and bark. You take this stuff and you can vomit, and you'll feel extremely clean and clear after the experience. And you do this for 5 days on the trot. If you're in the treatment centre, which Danny would hope to be, and I had hoped to stay outside. I'd hoped they'd let me take the medicine, even though I couldn't go through into the treatment centre. But the monks were known to take the medicine outside the treatment centre just as a healthy practice that they had, because they maintained cleaned out their whole system. And I found it to be really kind of beneficial when I did it before. So it was my hope. I got on with a lot of the monks there. It was my hope that they would facilitate me coming up to the monastery or coming up to the treatment centre, but staying in the monastery. And I knew if they didn't, I could stay in a nearby hotel and let my brother do the treatment centre. So anyway, we got to Bangkok eventually, and we go through the customs and all, and that was a bit nerve-wracking too, because we had heroin on us, and I wasn't too worried about the methadone in Bangkok, but once we got out of the Middle East with it. But having a couple of bags of heroin, you know, I was nervous enough about that, but we got through and everything was okay. So we got into the city, and we knew it was very hot, and we two were sweating, and we'd our last little bit of gear. So we're on the Khao San Road, a very busy tourist place in Bangkok, and booked into our hotel. And we went downstairs, and we went into a 7-Eleven store. There's loads of all over Asia, and I tried to get some tin foil, and I couldn't. There was none there. They didn't have it. I tried to explain to the woman. And so we were walking down the Khao San Road. There's little street stands doing street food, and I noticed a woman doing baked potatoes in tin foil. She had all these potatoes in tin foil, and she was putting them in this little oven thing and then putting fillings in them. And it was her little gig on the street. So I went over and I asked her for some tin foil. I know my brother did. He went straight over. He said, "Can I have some tin foil, please? Just a bit. I'll buy it off you." And the woman looked at him, and she knew what he was for, you know, because this was the only reason someone would just ask for a piece of tin foil. And she said, no. She tried to push him away. And I was like, damn, he just should have left it to me. I would have just bought a fucking potato and then took the tin foil off it. But he was like, why pay for the potato? You know, just ask her for some, but she wouldn't give us any. And then when I tried to buy a potato off her, she wasn't having it either. They wouldn't sell us the potatoes. She said, no, drug, no. She wouldn't have anything to do with it. So we left there, we went into town, into the city, down the main drag, I should say, down to Sukhumvit, found this huge centre, NBK centre or something. We went through there. We found a kind of department store that had kitchen stuff. We eventually went over, we asked one person, this big store, excuse me, we're looking for some tin foil. He spoke a little English, this guy. It's aluminium paper, yes, he said, for cooking. I said, yes, for cooking. He said, okay, 1 minute. So then he calls over this girl, this other shop assistant, and the two of them are discussing the tin foil, and I was wondering, are they suspicious now as well or what? But they weren't, they just were trying to, in a big store, and he was just trying to get some help. And then she comes over, and I have to say, this store was packed full of stuff: pots, pans, spoons, knives, forks, jugs, everything kitchen you can imagine. So it wasn't as easy than just pointing out where this thing was, because the shop was also, it was just seemed to be in disarray. but there was anything and everything you could think of, and they surely had some file somewhere. So eventually this girl comes over, and she had no English, so she's going through her mom translate, but she's the one that seems to know where everything was. And then, but in the course of this, because it was two standing there talking to these two people, then the manager of the shop or some other person, next thing there's 4 or 5 people around us, and they're all discussing, where's the tin foil? You know. So your man goes and brings us all the way down this aisle, and then around to the left and over the back, and then eventually he pulls out this thing, big thing of tin foil, big fucking thick roll of it. So it's like a catering roll. And of course we had to buy that off him, and which we did, and it was a ridiculous price. It was like $15 or something, or the equivalent, you know. But we just wanted a square little piece off it, you know, to go and have a smoke. We got that anyway. We went back to the hotel with it, and we had a smoke. We smoked the last bit of gear, and that was grand. And we crashed out for a couple of hours. And I don't know if it was that night or early the next morning, but I woke up really early, sweating, and I knew we had nothing left. We'd no gear. And the brother woke up as well. And he was in the height of it now. He was really like, he was having terrible withdrawals. He had a very big habit as well, probably bigger than mine even at the time, because he was working and he had regular money, so he never went without. He never even had to go short. He was using a lot, and I could see it started to come out. And the little bit of methadone we had, I should say, we'd been sipping on that as soon as we touched down, and we're here now, a day and a half, 2 days. That was gone. There was still the residue in us, but the fear, the impending fear, and neither of us could think about heading to the treatment centre tomorrow. We needed to have something in us so that we could get up there nice and stoned, and he could get in, and I had sort out my accommodation in the monastery, and all what we had to do, we couldn't face it without a bit of gear on us, because we were miserable. So I remember that evening trying to keep the brother, saying to him, look, we'll be all right, we'll get through this. We just get up to the monastery. And as the hours went in, the evening turned into night time, at about 2 in the morning. He was going really insane. He said, he's suicidal, he says, and he was really in an awful state. And I was worried about that. I thought, fuck this, I'm going to go out and get something. So, 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm in Bangkok. I walk down out of this hotel, out onto the street, and I walk over to a tuk-tuk, which is these small little vans with kind of a motorbike engine in the front, and there's like a van in the back where you sit. But so I jump into the tuk-tuk, and I said to the dude, I said, bro, take me to, I said, can you get me some heroin? And he's like, okay, yes, come. And I said, now bro, look, listen, no police, no problems, just me, I buy and I give you, I will look after you. And so the dude's like, yeah, no problem, yeah, no, I can bring you. So I jump in the back of this tuk-tuk, and we head around through the city, and then we go off, well, I just say off grid, because we left the bright lights and we went, all I can say is just backstage in Bangkok to these slums, man. I've never seen anything like it. And we went for about 10-15 minutes through these slums, and then the only thing was, we seemed to be going nearby the river that goes through Bangkok, the canals. I kept seeing the canal. We'd be weaving in and out of this sort of myriad of small corrugated shacks and houses, but anytime we'd hit the main road part, it was like he was trying to stay off the main road, which was right beside the canal. And it seemed like we just went straight down by this canal, but we weaved in and out of this estate. I can only call it an estate. Yeah, it's just this mad favela or real hood in Bangkok, right? And we eventually got to a place where, again, near the canal, further deep down into this estate. Anyway, yeah, we got to this place where he pulls up near, and I can see the canal up at the top of the lane. Pulls up in this little lane. 2 of us jump out, and I said, why are we walking? And he said, because the car wouldn't get, the lane got so small that it's actually literally only a metre and a half across, like about 4 foot. And we're walking through it. And that's how near each wall is on each side. So we're going down these little lanes, like I say, about 1.5 meters width distance, and we'd come around a corner and there'd be a little lamp, street lamp, and nothing else, and just all these corrugated gates and doors and cats meow running over the roofs, and it was really dark and eerie. And we get around the corner and there's a street lamp and there's a guy underneath it, and he's hyperventilating, he's full of tattoos, right, just to add to the madness of the thing. And all he's got is a pair of bicycle shorts on and a pair of flip-flops, and he's just, and you can see this guy's like, it's like he's, I don't know, like his heart's gonna bust out of his chest. He just seems to be hyperventilating, sweating, and he looks aggressive, but I think he was just actually trying to hold it together. I don't know, because he was tweaking or flying or whatever the hell was going on. I didn't realise at the time, but they would have been all on crystal meth, on this yaba, this tablet that they take out there. But we were looking for heroin, so we asked the guy, and he was looking for money he asked this dude here, and I was like, man, don't nothing. And then, but this guy, when he stopped, he caught himself from hyperventilating, and they were talking in Thai, and then he didn't pay much heed to us though, and we just kept walking on, and we were getting further away from, deeper into this favela, like walking on these back lanes, and then there'd be some homeless guy on the ground over in the corner. You could barely see him, and even then just coming across him, the shock I get, you know. Then around another corner, and there'd be two prostitutes standing there arguing over something, and then a couple of guys sitting down around again, and there was a little table outside this, like I say, this very small lane. Two men sitting playing sort of some board game, but you know, really aggressively banging down the dominoes or the chess, whatever it was they were playing. I didn't even look. I just was kind of there holding my breath, just going through this place, because it was kind of a very eerie experience, and I had all my faith in this tuk truck driver that he wasn't going to fuck me over or bring me somewhere to be robbed or something. So I kept trying to engage him every time we got a bit away from people, because we kept bumping into people around every corner. Like, there was nobody, and then all of a sudden there was somebody, and then down the lane, and then there's somebody else would appear, and we kept having these interludes with people. But every time I got a chance, I kept talking to them. It's okay here, we're okay, we're good, I will look after you later, I promise you. We get something and we go, and everything good, I pay you. And I was trying to tell the guy, like, I was going to really look after him, just get me back fucking safe with something in my pocket. And anyway, long story short, and I'm making this really long, haven't I? Oh dear. Anyway, it's just, I'm trying to recall it all. So look, so we go and we got a bit of gear. No. So I mean, our man can't find any gear anywhere. We asked a load of people, but we were offered yaba a few times, which is methamphetamine. And we were just about giving up, and on the way back, we passed some of these characters on the way back, and I said to him, I just decided, and we saw the guy that offered us some speed pills, these methamphetamine tablets. I said, just get them. He said, you want them? Yeah, so he was delighted I was getting something. He knew he was going to get his dropsy as well. So he got me 10 yaba tablets. These are these methamphetamine, very strong, and you smoke these on tin foil the same way as we would do heroin, and you get intensely high. But I kind of felt, I'd taken on methamphetamine before once or twice, and what I did notice about it, the heroin sickness just completely goes. It takes the withdrawals away, because you're flying then on speed and you can't experience withdrawal. So I knew I had something at least to go back to the hotel with. So it must have been about 5, 6 in the morning. I came in the room, the brother was freaked. He was, oh, yo, jeez, I thought you got nicked, and he was all panicky and everything. I was like, I'm cool. He said, did you get anything? Please tell me you got something. I didn't get any heroin. He said, oh, jeez, are you serious? I said, no, but I did get this. And I pulled out this speed. He said, what the fuck's this? I said, speed. He said, are you crazy? I'm withdrawing, you're giving me speed. I said, trust me on this, Sonny, I've done it before. And I got it together on the bit of foil, and we melted it down, and we took a few lines each, and we were flying. And at 6 in the morning, we're sitting there, all bright and like bushy-tailed, and we hadn't slept like for 2 days, and here we are, like, and we're dying sick from heroin withdrawals. And we had to do a few pipes of this, and we were like, boom, let's go out. So we went out at 6 in the morning, we went down to the market, and the reggae bar was the reggae bar was open 24 hours there. So your man was cleaning up and all from the night they had before. There was a few prostitutes and some early morning people in at the bar. And so we went in there and we ordered 2 bottles of Heineken and we stayed there listening to reggae tunes, smoking a bit of weed. We got a bit of weed in there off some guy, and we met all these dudes from a little unit. This was in like a market mall, and across from the reggae bar there was a tattoo shop. And we had been talking to one of the guys in the bar, and he brought us over to the tattoo shop and we smoked more yabba with him. He had yabba as well, and so we done a couple of tablets in there, the yabba tablets with a few of the guys, and it went from 2 guys in the shop to all of a sudden 7 or 8 guys in the shop. So all these Thai fellas, and one of them was only out of prison, out of Bangkok. He'd done 3 years there, and he showed us all his tattoos and all that, because he was a tattoo artist, and he'd been doing tattoos in the prison and everything. He'd only got out and they were having a bit of a party for him. They'd all been on yabba for a few days, these guys, and you know, we just bumped into them early in the morning, like after they'd been sessioning for a couple of days, and of course we're flying, they're flying. We're all in very animated in the tattoo shop, and then the last little tablets were being shared out or whatever, and my brother was giving a bit to this other guy and I was looking after another dude, and whatever happened, they got greedy with it, and my brother pulled the tin foil up saying, "No man, come on, you've had enough." But your man don't understand and took it as a real kind of what the fuck. Next thing, a knife gets pulled out, and then what was it, one of them threw a fucking a trolley that was holding, and a bit of chaos went off in the shop, and everything calmed down, everyone calmed down. But for a minute it looked like I thought my brother was going to get stabbed, you know. And everything calmed down. I stepped in with the diplomacy and said, "Sorry guys, look, come on, we're all brothers here. Come on, we're all brothers." Bought a bit of beer, and then everyone calmed down, and one of the dudes started talking about you can get a bit of heroin, would we like heroin? And straight away my brother was, "Yeah, let's do it." And then I didn't like the setup here, because the scene was we had to go to another area, and it was to get it off Nigerians, and I always heard they were the ones that set you up and rip you off over there in Bangkok. So I just didn't like the look of it. So I told the guys, "Wait here, we'll go to the hotel, get some more money, and then we'll all go together," you know. And they bought into that. We said, no, we'll be back. And he said, "We'll be back in a few minutes." I even left, I think, 40 Marlboro there. I said, "Look, there's my cigarettes and I'll be back in 10 minutes. We got out of there and we fucked off. Straight back to the hotel and says, "Right, we got to get out of here tonight." No. We said, right. So I left these cigarettes there. We got out of there and we walked back to the hotel. Now, we met these guys at 6 o'clock in the morning. This was 6 o'clock the next morning, and we're only leaving there because we'd spent 24 hours in this tattoo shop. Well, between the reggae bar and the tattoo shop, we hadn't been back at the hotel. Oh man, we'd 1 tablet left. I had it in my jeans pocket. We're walking back down Sukhumvit to the hotel, and the fucking police chief pulls up beside us, slows down, starts driving at the pace we were walking, right? So it's right beside us, and I said to the brother, "Listen, we get pulled here, just keep walking, you know. If I get pulled, just keep walking." Because I looked in bits, and they were kind of looking at me, and I had been lagging a bit behind the brother, and I decided not to catch up, and I was just talking to him on the street. I said, "Don't look around, the police are right beside us, just keep walking. If I get a pull here," they keep looking at me, "if I get a pull here, just keep walking, and I'll see you back at the hotel." And he just says, right, oh please God, don't get a pull. So we kept walking, and they kept going to the same side, and rightly enough, just my instinct, they just swerved in between the brother and me, let him walk ahead. I just kept my head down until I looked up, and then boom, the car bonnet's in front of me. So one of them jumps out, walks around the car, speaks to me in kind of rough English and says, "Where's your passport?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's in the hotel." "Where are you from?" "I'm from Ireland." "You take drugs?" And I said, "No." He said, You look drugs. You have drugs?" And I said, "No, I have no drugs." And I had a fucking yabba in my pocket right then. And I was really scared, and I was thinking even in the hotel, like there would have been tin foil all lying around the place from the yesterday morning. From over the weekend, we hadn't cleaned up anything. I didn't want to, and I didn't have my passport on me. He started asking me for my passport. So it's in the hotel, and I was thinking, oh shit, if I go to the hotel and Danny's there, and the file and all. I was thinking everything in my head was racing. And cop comes over to me and he says, you take drugs? And I said, no, what do you do in Thailand? I said, I'm going to the monastery. I said, he said, you come to the police station. I said, for what? And he said, you make PPE, we look, see you taking drugs. And I said, listen, I'm very sick at the moment. Yeah, I'm very sick. I'm going to a monastery tomorrow. For what? And I said, I'm very ill, I'm dying, and I need to go to this monastery to get a blessing. And so the two of them started talking to each other in Thai. And he turns around to me and says, go hotel now, tomorrow you go, monastery, don't stay Bangkok. I said, thank you, and he just let me go. I swear to God, it was as near as I came to what could have turned out to be a terrible situation. And it wasn't the first time in my life I've had such a close call, but I've been very lucky like that a few times. Some really dangerous situations. These police wanted to take me for a urine test at the police station because I looked so strung out and I had drugs in my pocket. And I don't know, if I'd have been handcuffed and put in the van and brought to the police station, it was game over for me. As a tourist buying yaba in Thailand, I'd have gone straight to Bangkok. But oh my God, the gods were on my side. And that wasn't to be the case. The next morning we jumped into a taxi, got the first bus up out of there, up into Tamperbach, Lopurdy, which is about 200 kilometres north, and we went straight to the monastery. And yeah, I'm half an hour in at this stage. Part 2 coming in 2 days. Pauly T for KoldTurkey, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned in, and thank you for everyone who has subscribed. I'm going to be getting back on it, and we'll be doing a lot more updates and like some interviews coming very soon.